8656. 800-557-8656.
Welcome back here. What's Cooking program, the nation's food, wine, restaurant, travel, and entertainment show. I'm Michael Horn. That is Paul Stern. You know, a lot of things happening. We mentioned it's return shopping carts to the supermarket month. So those of you that have been hoarding shopping carts, if you have. And my dad used to soup these things up a little bit. He used to you could motorize some of these things and use them as motorized wheelbarrows. You should actually return them. This is the month you keep it all year to haul firewood and everything, and then you return them here in February. So that is officially a return shopping carts to the supermarket month. And in order to, do we have a guest coming up here, by the way, Paul?
Coming up later this program.
Okay, so, sometime today. So, in an effort to, you know how tough it's been in the Middle East, you know, when there's unrest all over the world, other countries falling apart and everything. And this just goes to show you how great our Congress and our government is, ladies and gentlemen, because we try to improve relations with everyone that we can. And there's back in 1994 in Illinois, the 10th District Congressman John Porter was able to get a resolution pushed through in the congressional record, making February, and this is improving a lot of relations right now, he has made February National Bird Feeding Month. Now, he observed this and established it because...
the lovely Erin Farrell, she didn't forward that little bit of information to you as well.
Erin's been doing a great job for us. This is February is the most difficult month in which U.S. birds have to survive in the wild. So in order to improve our relations, and let's face it, those of you know what I mean, when birds have fun with you and been flying over and dropping away the bombs, if you know what I mean, in order to improve relations with the aviary public out there, with the birds, you're encouraged to feed them this month. It is United States Bird Feeding Month.
I hate to be negative about, especially during this time of the year.
Use fresh seed this year, by the way, not that stuff that's rotting. Yes.
Have you ever had like a neighbor that used to spread the bread out?
Oh yes, yeah.
The torn up pieces of bread out for the bird to come down.
Boy, yes.
It would attract. We used to have a neighbor that would do that with the birds. It would attract. Literally, birds would come from literally all over the state. They would all.
Of course. They eat in your neighbor's yard and then they dump in yours. If you know what I mean. I've got an area right now coming up my steps. You might have seen it yesterday on your way over. That seems like it's a bird sanctuary. For some reason, there's a spot in the trees that the birds just like to sit and, take target practice. And it's right on the stairwell. Here's the thing. We need to improve relationships with animals. I don't feed anything because when I was a young child, probably about 5 or 6 years old at the Griffith Park Zoo in Southern California, I was in the petting zoo area, where the little goats wander around and all the little animals you can pet and touch them and everything. And placed at strategic points throughout the little petting zoo area, which was all enclosed to keep the animals in, were these devices that I used to love where you could put like a nickel. So they really increased them to like 25 cents. They're probably like $5.90, $5.90. You probably have to slip a $5 bill in. And you could crank them and get, like the little rings or trinkets or something would come out in the capsules. And instead of capsules and toys in there, these are candies that you could turn the crank. There was actual grain that the billy goats and other animals would enjoy eating. And I was given a nickel by my handlers to go over and drop it into this actual feeding device, turn the crank, and out would come the grain. You hold your hand there. You lift
that was
the lid.
Actually a converted gumball machine.
Exactly. And you would lift the thing up, and you would have grain, and you could then throw it out at the billy goats. Well, unbeknownst to me, at my young age and impressionable age to this day, that's why I don't feed any animals, as soon as you would go over and put the coin in the machine and be studying it if you were a young kid to figure out how to turn the crank, the billy goats were smart enough to realize that there was a sap that was going to give them some food, and they would start charging the actual converted gum machine. And all I can quite remember is my older brother, I love him to this day, shouting, drop the food, because I had this hand of this and I was seeing this charge of billy goats coming towards a young impressionable child. And can you imagine if Facebook was around that time, the look of horror would be on the face you would post?
No, that was I always remembered with quite a bit of fondness. Obviously you had a kind of a situation that was a little bit irregular, but
I was irregular too, but that's a whole nother story. That came after eating a lot of pecans.
No, there's something magical about a goat actually eating the feed
Oh.
from the palm of your hands.
Yes.
And then watching the feed kind of churn around inside the gum.
Well, see, you had a little more technique. I just dropped it and ran. And I encourage you, older brothers and sisters out there, if you want to play a trick on your little young brother or sister, take them to the feeding zoo. Give them $10, because I'm sure that's what it costs now to get a handful of grain, and watch the sheer delight they have when the billy goats charge them.
I don't.
And you can
I
post them
don't
on.
believe that it costs $10 to get a handful of grain.
Things have gone up since I was a child.
I can't believe that. Please don't take that one fond memory.
Gasoline,
from us,
here's a story
please.
today in Los Angeles. Gas is at its highest price since 2008. So I'm telling you, the feed for billy goats, I'm sure right now, gone up. And I'm sure the zoo actually encourages you to actually do that because it saves them dollars on feeding the goats.
Okay, Mike, I mentioned...
Did you want me to speed this up a little bit? I'm getting a cue. We have a producer who, I don't know if you can see him sometimes on camera, but he gets right in front of Paul and will give me the sign. I think that's a sign to actually get out of the segment or move along. And it's just his arm that you see. It's kind of like the old Soupy Sales show where he had White Fang and Blacktooth. Our producer just sticks his big old arm in there. And in this case, I just saw it. He does a spinning motion. And it goes along. Yeah, it just goes in the thing over there and makes it move.
We had mentioned
sometimes with just one finger. I don't know
No,
what
we
that's
had
all
mentioned
about.
before the break. I didn't realize we're going to go so long with this whole national.
It's a
bird-
traumatic time. I mean, come on. I stay away from animals anywhere. People like to go see animals. Hey, just let them go eat and starve in February.
But I mentioned that
I
everything
have
was
trouble
not
getting lunch
necessarily
every day.
per-
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, but when you go to Trader Joe's,
Oh yeah, you said there's a big expose on TJ's. Trader
they're
Joe's.
very guarded on where they get their product. They have the Trader Joe label, and if you try to figure out where it is that they actually, who their supplier might happen to be.
Is that what you do? You play the Trader Joe game? You go look at the label and wonder who actually made the product?
Oh, absolutely! I was looking through the latest, my latest edition of the Fearless Flyer. That is the Trader Joe advertising supplement that they give away free of charge. They have a what they call Vin TJS Pinot Noir.
All right, that's an interesting story, and I'm glad we had some time to talk about it. That was Paul Stern's report from Trader Joe's. And that was worthwhile waiting through the segment right there. And I'm glad you're able to get it in prior to the break. Yeah. Apparently Eric Hines liked that too. Some kind of Vin something Pinot Noir. All right. Stay tuned. Guests upcoming straight ahead on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Woo.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet. Fresh